Hello, this is Max. Today, a story about two women who fell in love with each other's sons and the consequences that resulted from it. You can subscribe to the channel after watching. It helps us a lot in realizing the content. Two lifelong friends, Roz and Lil, have been inseparable since their childhood. They reside in a coastal area and share a passion for swimming. As they grow older, they each have sons who become close friends as well. The bond between the two families deepens after Lil's husband passes away, with Roz offering support during her difficult time. Observing Ian, Roz's son, looking melancholic on the balcony, Harold, Roz's husband, encourages Tom, his son, to invite Ian to join them at the beach. Both mothers are relieved and happy to see their sons enjoying themselves by the water. Over time, the boys learn to surf together and become skilled at riding the waves as they enter adulthood. Roz and Lil watch with pride as their sons become handsome and accomplished surfers. One day, while Roz and Lil are reminiscing over a photo album from their childhood, Tom and Ian playfully take it from them to mock the old photos. Amid laughter and teasing, Ian retreats to the balcony with the album, particularly focusing on a picture of himself as a child with his late father. Concerned about her son's demeanor, Lil joins Ian on the balcony to offer comfort. During a dinner conversation, Lil shares a memory of her younger days when she felt overshadowed by Roz's attractiveness. Tom's inappropriate comment about Lil's past leads to a disapproving glance from Ian. Later, during a card game, Harold arrives and shares the details of his eventful day at work with Roz. Meanwhile, Lil says her goodbyes as Ian plans to spend time with his friend Tom to watch a movie. In the midst of the conversation, Harold reveals that he has been offered a job as a drama lecturer in Sydney. While this is an exciting opportunity for him, Roz is less enthusiastic since he wants the entire family to relocate. Later that evening, while getting a drink, Roz notices that Ian's room is open. Curious, she enters and discreetly takes the album that Ian had brought to bed with him. As she leaves, she accidentally awakens Ian, who calls out to her but remains silent and goes back to sleep. At work the following day, a persistent admirer of Lil's, Saul, invites her to his birthday party. Politely, she declines, using the excuse of a book club event. Roz playfully remarks on Lil's adeptness at lying when Saul backs off. Later, Harold attempts to convince Roz to move to Sydney with him. He highlights the need for a stronger connection in their marriage due to their recent lack of time together. Harold suggests that Roz might be hesitant to move because of her close friendship with Lil. Roz denies this and questions Harold's perception of them being romantically involved, which he firmly refutes. Ultimately, Roz reassures Harold that she will join him in Sydney but asks for some time to adjust to the idea. While en route to the beach, Lil expresses her dissatisfaction with Harold over their argument. She confesses to having felt envious of Roz and Harold's seemingly content relationship in the past. Lil jokingly wonders if Harold is suggesting they are lesbians, to which Roz replies with a smile and a playful denial. Later, Harold departs for Sydney temporarily, leaving Roz behind. Roz goes for a swim and encounters Ian alone on a floating dock. Their conversation hints at an underlying unease, though Roz insists that she is fine. The two share a moment of companionship. In a shared evening between the mothers and sons, Lil and Tom dance while Roz and Ian exchange glances while watching them. After Lil decides to leave, Ian remains behind, taking his inebriated friend Tom to his room. Late at night, Roz finds herself shirtless with Ian, and they share a passionate kiss. Initially hesitant, Roz eventually gives into the moment. Tom, waking up in the middle of the night, sees his mother exiting Ian's room. Confused, he retreats to the shore and falls asleep. The next day, Tom confides in Lil, expressing his reluctance to move to Sydney and his uncertain feelings about their small town. In an impulsive moment, Tom kisses Lil, who quickly pulls away, surprised. Tom then reveals the truth of what he witnessed the previous night, shocking Lil. Lil grapples with the revelation, unable to reconcile the situation due to her long-standing relationship with Roz and her history with Ian. Throughout the day, Lil avoids Roz at work. When she returns home, Tom is waiting for her and she allows him to stay over. That night, they share a tense moment in Lil's bedroom, but nothing further transpires. Morning arrives and both succumb to their desires, crossing a line they had never anticipated. When Tom finally returns home, He faces questioning from Roz about his whereabouts. Tom's candid response about his actions with Lil leads to Roz slapping him in disgust. Roz and Lil later have a conversation, acknowledging that they have crossed a boundary that should not be crossed again, affirming their commitment to their friendship and the need to move forward. However, when Ian becomes aware of the agreement between Roz and Lil to end their relationships, he shocks Lil by confessing his love for Roz. Lil finds this hard to believe at first. The next day, Ian confronts Roz about his feelings for her, expressing his refusal to end their relationship. Despite Roz's initial attempt to dismiss him, they both come to the realization that breaking up might not be an option for them. Similarly, Tom and Lil face a similar situation. They too find it difficult to end their connection. In the following days, both Roz and Lil admit to each other that they have never been happier, leading them to decide to continue their relationships with the younger men. Harold's return is met with a noticeable change in Tom's behavior. Harold senses that his son has a new romantic interest, and Tom doesn't deny it. He also notices Roz's unusual demeanor and feels emotionally distant from his family. Roz eventually informs Harold that she and Tom won't be accompanying him to Sydney. Harold believes it's due to Lil's influence, but Roz clarifies that it's because they can't envision leaving their current life behind. Harold is taken aback by this decision and moves to Sydney alone. Lil becomes concerned about Saul potentially discovering their secret relationship. Another complication arises when their sons are seen fighting, but the mothers manage to intervene and stop the altercation. Despite the tension, the four continue to spend time together, though there's still an underlying coldness between the young men. Saul unexpectedly visits Lil one day, and his presence surprises Roz, who happens to be there too. Roz is about to give them privacy, but Lil insists she stays. Saul confesses his love for Lil, but Roz's presence prompts Lil to reject him, leading Saul to assume that Roz and Lil are romantically involved. The women find this amusing. 2 years later, Ian is working with Roz in a yacht building company, while Tom has become an assistant director in the theater. Tom receives an offer to direct a production in Sydney, which presents a conflict since the job would take him away for a month. Ian reassures Tom that Lil wouldn't want him to miss out on such an opportunity due to their relationship. Tom accepts the job and moves to Sydney. In Sydney, Tom is impressed by an actress named Mary auditioning for the lead role. He mentions Mary to Lil, who struggles to admit feeling jealous. Tom also adjusts to living with his father's new family. During dinner with Roz and Ian, Lil hints that she believes Tom might be interested in Mary. Both Roz and Ian reassure her that Tom wouldn't mention another woman if he were still invested in their relationship. On a night out 2 days before Tom's return, Lil drinks heavily at a pub, and Roz and Ian find it challenging to manage her. She even flirts with a man, prompting Ian to take her home. As she looks at herself in the mirror later that night, Lil's insecurity becomes apparent. Meanwhile, in Sydney, Tom is captivated by Mary's performance on stage, his face lit up with admiration. The next day, Harold attempts to persuade Tom to extend his stay, but Tom declines, stating that he has some personal matters to attend to. Harold promises to be present for Tom's 21st birthday. Upon Tom's return, he finds Lil at the floating dock, and the two spend some quality time together. During a dinner with Roz, Lil, Tom, and Ian, Tom receives a call that everyone realizes is from Mary, evoking a sense of jealousy in Lil. Tom's birthday arrives, and Harold surprises him by bringing Mary along. Later that night, at Tom's birthday party, Lil and Ian make an appearance. Lil's jealousy becomes evident as she observes Tom dancing with Mary. She hides her feelings as Tom introduces Mary to her and Ian. After the party, Tom sends Mary back to her hotel while Lil leaves alone, coming to terms with the fact that Tom has moved on. Roz comforts Lil, and the two women discuss their decision to step back from the relationships. While Lil suggests Roz continue with Ian since he doesn't have a girlfriend, Roz believes he should find someone else too. Roz eventually informs Ian and Tom of their decision, which devastates Ian. He expresses anger and claims he won't forgive Roz, storming out in frustration. In time, Tom marries Mary, with Ian as his best man and Lil in attendance, even though both harbor mixed feelings about the marriage. Following the wedding ceremony, Harold makes a comment to Ian about his future wedding, which irritates Ian. He blames Harold for the situation, although Harold remains oblivious to the reason behind Ian's anger. At the wedding, Ian meets Mary's friend, Hannah. When Roz sees them dancing together, she turns away to conceal her jealousy, unaware that Ian notices her reaction. Later, while Ian dances with the bride, he spots Roz sitting alone. He approaches her, projecting coldness and blaming her for the end of their relationship. In a deliberate move to hurt her, he abandons Roz to spend time with Hannah. At dawn after the wedding, Ian visits Roz's house, pleading to be let in. However, Roz remains silent in her room, shedding tears. In a fit of anger, Ian goes surfing despite perilous waves. His surfboard collides with a rock, resulting in a severe leg injury. During his hospitalization, Lil and Roz visit him, but Ian refuses to see Roz. Surprisingly, Hannah appears and assists with Ian's physical therapy, leading to a romantic involvement between them. During a moment of intimacy, Ian calls out for Roz in his sleep, prompting Hannah's curiosity. Ian explains it away by citing their lifelong connection and likening Roz to a second mother, successfully convincing Hannah. Ian confides in Tom, admitting that his relationship with Hannah is falling apart and he's considering ending it. However, Ian is stunned when Hannah reveals that she's pregnant. Years go by, and both Tom and Ian have daughters. Roz and Lil join their sons, granddaughters, and daughters-in-law at the beach, seemingly content despite the hidden tensions between the couples. While the group enjoys the water, Ian spends a moment alone with Roz on the shore. He urges her to take off her sunglasses, wanting her to reveal her eyes. When Roz obliges, her wrinkles become visible, leading her to quickly put her sunglasses back on. Suddenly, Hannah scolds their daughter for being alone in the water, causing Ian's anger. The child becomes frightened by the scolding. Later, Lil puts her granddaughters to bed and departs for home. The rest of the group continues to drink and chat, with Tom mentioning he'll go for a walk to sober up. Unbeknownst to everyone else, Lil is waiting for Tom at her house, and they spend private time together. However, their intimate moment is interrupted when they are caught by someone. Ian rushes back to Roz's house, asking her to speak in private. In their conversation, he vents his rage about discovering Tom and Lil together. He accuses them of continuing their relationship and ridiculing their families. Ian blames Roz for ending their relationship earlier against his wishes, accusing her of hypocrisy. Mary and Hannah overhear their conversation, and Ian admits the truth to them. The women are horrified, and Mary decides to leave with her daughter, urging Hannah to go with her. Ian remains passive in the face of Mary's departure. When the women leave, Roz scolds Ian for revealing the secret, but he defends his actions, believing it needed to be exposed. Roz contends that such exposure wasn't necessary and could have been avoided, especially considering the damage caused to Hannah. Ian admits to Roz that his relationship with Hannah wasn't working out, suggesting a swift and merciful end. But Roz disagrees with his idea of mercy. Mary, while putting her daughter in the car, prevents Roz from touching her daughter and asserts that she doesn't want to see Tom again. Realizing the gravity of his actions, Ian is left crying alone in his car. Meanwhile, Tom returns home to find Mary and their daughter gone. Roz informs him that they may not return. The next day, Lil confesses to Roz that while they did stop their relationship as agreed, Tom and she resumed seeing each other a few weeks after Tom's wedding. It had happened when Mary was away auditioning, and they continued due to the ease of their interactions. Lil reveals that Tom didn't tell Roz because it was casual, and they assumed it wouldn't last. The difficulty of revealing the truth grew as they recognized Roz's sacrifice for Ian. Both women cry, understanding the gravity of their situation. Time passes, and Ian goes for a swim. He reaches the floating dock to find the others lying there. Greeting them, he lies down beside Roz, as if attempting to revert to normalcy. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen, and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.